Ever had a night that started normal, but spiraled so far out of control that you couldn't trust your own mind? This was one of those nights. I thought I was just having dinner with an old friend, but what happened next? What I experienced made me question everything I thought I knew, and I know deep down that I'll never look at the world the same way again. It was the first weekend in October, and I was living alone in my apartment in Pinehurst, a small town nestled between mountains. I've been feeling a little lonely lately. My closest friends had all moved away, and the quiet nights in my place were starting to feel too long. So when Sam, an old college friend, called and asked if I wanted to catch up over dinner, I jumped at the chance. Sam and I had shared some incredible memories back in school. And even though it had been years since we last saw each other, I was eager to reconnect. I spent the evening preparing a simple dinner, my small apartment feeling a bit too quiet. As the clock ticked past 7:30, I checked the door again. It wasn't like Sam to be late. I tried to brush off the unease building inside me. Something felt off. The sound of the fridge humming, the low buzz of the overhead light, even the quiet of the street outside seemed louder than usual. Every little noise was magnified in the silence. I shook it off though, just nerves. By 8:30, I was staring at my phone. No message, no call. I tried calling Sam, but it went straight to voicemail. The unease from earlier slowly crept up again. Maybe he was stuck in traffic, I thought. Maybe he got caught up in something. But still, Sam was always punctual. This wasn't like him. I stood up, pacing back and forth. My heart was pounding now, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed from the door. Knock, knock. I rushed to answer, relief flooding through me. But when I opened the door, a chill ran down my spine. Standing there was a man I didn't recognize. His figure was cloaked in shadows and his breath was ragged, like he'd been running. "Sam?" I asked, my voice cracking slightly. The man smiled, the grin stretching unnervingly wide. "It's been a while, right?" he replied. The man stepped inside without another word, glancing around my apartment like he'd been here 1,000 times before. I didn't know what to think. Something about him didn't feel right, but I couldn't place it. He didn't look exactly like Sam, but then again, people change over time. The face was familiar enough, right? I led him to the living room, offering him a drink, trying to ignore the tightness in my chest. As we sat down, I tried to talk, asking him what he'd been up to, but his responses were distant. His eyes didn't meet mine, instead flicking toward the door, the window, and then back again. "You've changed," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Things are different now, aren't they?" My stomach turned. Something in his tone didn't match the words. He wasn't looking at me anymore. He was staring into the empty space around us, like he was studying the walls. As the night went on, the strange behavior only increased. Every question he asked was more personal, more invasive than the last. At one point, he leaned in, his voice lowering to an almost conspiratorial whisper. "How many locks do you have on your door?" I froze. "What?" His eyes didn't blink, and his smile was wide, unsettling. He stood up without saying another word, walking toward the window, staring out into the dark street below. "You're not alone, are you?" he muttered, not even looking at me. His voice wasn't casual anymore. It was cold, sharp. I stood there watching him, my breath catching in my throat. I tried to laugh it off. "What's going on with you, Sam? You're acting weird." But he didn't respond. He just continued to stare outside. completely detached. I felt the walls close in on me. The air seemed thicker, heavier, and then, just like that, he was gone. I wasn't sure when it happened. I was looking away for just a second, checking my phone for a missed call, and when I looked back, he was gone. The front door was wide open. I rushed to the door, panic setting in. But outside, there was nothing. Not a single person on the street. No sign of anyone. I couldn't breathe. I walked to the window and looked down at the empty street. There were no footsteps, no trace of the man who had just been standing in my living room. I checked my phone again. A message from Sam. "Sorry, I'm running late. I'll be there soon. Don't start without me." The timestamp was 8:45 p.m., right after the man had walked into my apartment. I looked at the door again. The stranger was never here, but somehow he was. My mind raced. Had I imagined it? But how could I? The text was real. The strange man, he had been here. I felt my stomach churn as the weight of what happened sank in. I tried calling Sam again. Straight to voicemail, no response. I checked every corner of the apartment. Nothing. No sign of the stranger. No sign of Sam. But the door had been wide open when I found it. And the stranger, the man who was supposed to be Sam, had just disappeared. I locked the door, trying to steady my shaking hands, and sank down onto the couch. Something was wrong. Something wasn't right. But what? The room was silent, too silent. And then, in the dead of night, I heard it. Knock, knock. It came from the front door. Soft, deliberate. Was it Sam? Was it the man again? Or something worse? I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. "What do you want?" I whispered under my breath. And then the knocking came again, louder this time.